I'm going to talk about Parans. This is a technique that is not very well known. I have the feeling my teachers in Parans were especially Bernadette Brady and also Rumen Kolev. Yeah? These are the two main inspirations. I will use a lot of charts, both from mundane astrology, so charts of nations, and natal astrology. A few keynotes. Parans are based, like I said, on Bernadette Brady, using a naturally rotating sky where the axes change and the planets rotate towards the axis. There are two systems of Parans. There's a system where everything is fixed from your birth, your natal chart, and you turn the fixed positions of the planets and the stars up to the axis. This is not what I'm doing. This is a different system. The planets keep moving in their natural rhythm, and they reach the axis through that natural rhythm. But I'll explain in a moment. Primary motion, I'm using that, and that's abbreviated by PM in a lot of slides, later explained. And other techniques are applied, especially secondary progressions, and that will be SP, tertiary progressions, PP, and minor progressions. I use these a lot. Parans are useful in mundane as well as in natal astrology, and they are connected to in mundo directions. This is technical for the people who understand it. So they do take into account the ecliptical latitude. This is especially very important for Pluto, which can be very far away from the ecliptic, and that's the latitude. And to see when Pluto comes to the axis, to the horizon, or to the MC, to the culminating, one has to work with in mundo. But I'll explain it in a moment. Pluto and other generational planets, so Uranus and Neptune, can also indicate personal karma, or can, when coming to the axis, in a primary motion or primary directions, both for countries and individuals. I do not think that Pluto is only a generational planet when we are using Parans. There's an exact moment when Pluto will reach the horizon or when he will culminate. That exact moment can refer to an exact time in the life of a person or a nation. And in that way, it's not only just a generational planet. Okay. Also something which will become clearer when I'm using the slides. This is just a small theoretical introduction. Relocation for me is a must, considering that each horizon has its own celestial rhythm. If I give the example, a sunset at the equator sunset is very quick. It's done in 15-20 minutes. A sunset in a very high latitude takes hours, 2, 3, 4 hours, and even at some point the sun even doesn't set. So the location in latitude is very important, and I think that one has to relocate when something happens a far distance from, let's say, if you use the chart of the USA and you use Philadelphia. I do not agree that everything is seen from Philadelphia. I will always relocate to the place exact where something happens in universal time. An overemphasis on free will is contrary to what life experience brings. Not all is possible to any individual. This is something that bothers me. Most of the chart is given and determined in my way. It is our free will to add to this or not to add. This is based on the theory in India of prarabdha karma. There are different kinds of karma. Prarabdha karma is the karma that needs to be experienced in this life. That is what I focus on. And in the history of astrology, the pendulum goes from focusing too much on free will towards focusing too much on determination or fate. But when working with fixed stars, one may be more connected to fixed karma or to something that one really has to go through in this life, to this prarabdha karma. Fixed stars indicate something that is maybe not avoidable. Why did I put this last keynote? Because in some new age astrology, there's, according to me, my opinion, there is too much stress on free will and on the limitless possibilities of the individual. This is not how I work with astrology. Also, it's not completely determined. That would make no sense. But when working with fixed stars and with parans, we probably come closer, or focusing to the more fixed things. Okay, I already told you that I use parans starting from the time of birth of a nation or a person, and I let the sky turn forward or backward, while planets like the fast moon shift slightly from position. I do not freeze the starting sky and then rotate that. No, and add arcs. I let the planets and the stars come to the changing angles, with a naturally rotating sky. This is based on what I learned or deduced from Bernadette Brady and her system of parans. You go to astro.com, you can select some sort of parans, 3 or 4. Brady is one set of it. It's not all. There are different ways of using parans. My system is based on Brady. Okay, last technical thing, primary motion. It's not the same as primary direction. Primary motion is based on the speed of the sun during the day of birth in ecliptical longitude. This ecliptical speed of the sun varies during the year, roughly from 75 end minutes to 61 end minutes, according to the season. The speed of the sun on the day of birth of a nation or of an individual is divided by 60. Though the mean speed is 59 minutes, but I did not find consistent results with dividing by this mean speed, more by the 60, which is the basis of our counting in minutes, in hours, the day. The 60 is very important, I think. That's why I have found better results by dividing through 60. Primary motion differs from primary direction, as the sky, again, is never frozen, but keeps on rotating, and the planets reach the angles by their natural movement in the sky. So the angles are not fixed, they change with the slowly rotating sky. For example, the moon moves 13 degrees per day, more or less. If by any primary motion I have to add 1440 minutes, which is a day, that moon will have changed 13 degrees, will be 13 degrees further on the ecliptic in the way I use the parans and I use this primary motion.